Hey guys! Welcome back to Animated Recaps. Today I will recap the first 2 episodes of an anime named Death Parade, where several people turn up without their memories in a bar, and they end up making games. Beware, spoilers ahead. The anime begins showing 2 elevators moving underground. The elevator on the right side leaves a woman named Michiko, and the left elevator leaves a man named Takashi. They are a couple, and when they look at each other, they inquire about how they arrived there, but neither of them seems to know as to how they arrived there. Both of them see a hallway with a red carpet laid on the floor, and Takashi leads the way and Michiko follows behind. Both of them soon see a bar where a white-haired man is standing in a suit behind the bar. He welcomes them to Quindecim, and tells that his name is Decim, and then he introduces himself as the bartender and inquires if they remember anything. Both of them answer a no, and Takashi only tells that he remembers that they were on a honeymoon trip. Michiko tells that she remembers that too. Takashi inquires which place is that and Decim tells that he will explain a few things. He tells them that he cannot answer where they are, and that they have to play a game, and that game will be selected by the roulette wheel. And that in that game, they have to bet their lives. He also tells that they cannot leave from the bar until the game is finished. They thought it to be silly and walked back to the elevator, but it didn't respond. They begin to walk around the place trying to look for a way out, but they find nothing. They reach back to the bar counter and inquire about the exit. And Decim tells again that there's no exit for them to leave. Takashi inquires that what would happen in case they didn't play the game. Then the wall behind Decim opens up, revealing many bodies hanging from the ceiling. The two get scared witnessing this, and Decim tells that when they will press the button a game will be selected. The two agree to do what Decim tells, as they have no idea as to what he will do to them. Then Takashi presses on the button, and a board with several square parts start to glow until one is selected and has the word DART written on it. An explosion happens next to them, then 2 pillars appear with a colored target on them, with a score of 501 on the top. In the center of the target appears a beating heart, and in the surrounding parts appear eyes, muscles and other organs. Decim tells that every part of the target is in connection to their nervous system, and when they strike on the parts they will experience pain in that part where the target is connected. Michiko gets frightened and Takashi tries to relax her down, and tells that if anything happens, he'll fix it himself. Decim then tells that the game has started. Takashi begins and just throws the dart on the target. When it strikes, Michiko falls onto the ground, experiencing pain in her shoulder. Takashi comes to her and begins to examine her. She tells that it was a little pain and that it had passed. Then she stands up and tells that now it's her turn. Takashi's score is now 495. Michiko shoots the dart, and when it strikes, Takashi experiences a sharp pain in his chest, and he opens his shirt quickly to look if there's anything on his body, but he doesn't find anything. He moves towards Decim and tells that he's a doctor, and he doesn't see any signs of surgery on them, so how could all this happen? Decim just tells that there's nothing, they're just betting their lives, and also tells that if he wanted to, he doesn't have to get it right so they will not feel pain, but Michiko will win the game as she has 483 points now. He moves back and tells her that if they commit a mistake they won't experience any more pain. Michiko then tells that Takashi will lose the game, but he tells that he doesn't worry about that. They begin to miss all the darts on purpose. When Takashi gets the second to last one, he thinks that he can turn one of those bodies, so he shoots the dart, investing more force by accident, and in turn causes pain to Michiko, who spits blood. He apologizes and Michiko tells it's okay. She stands up and throws the dart, but spits blood in the process, creating it to strike the target, causing Takashi's eye pain. Who falls onto the ground, and after standing up furiously, intends to shoot the last dart at the target. But Michiko asks not to shoot her in the belly, and tells that his son is there. Takashi remembers that she was always sleeping before their honeymoon, and that explains why, and then inquires how long. She answers that 10 weeks, and that she wanted to tell him during the trip. He smiles and intends to miss the target, but remembers a conversation he overheard, so he shoots the dart and strikes it inadvertently, causing her stomach to pain. She tells he could have hurt the baby. Takashi then replies that he remembers the conversation of 2 of Michiko's friends talking that Machi is lucky and can get men and is now deciding to marry a doctor. He asks her to accept that she was cheating on him, but Michiko declines. So Takashi grabs Michiko's dart and inquires if he can use someone else's dart. Decim says yes, and whoever makes it right now will win, as they both have 475. He tells Machi never loses. Michiko then gets up and tells that Machi was the nickname of a friend of hers who married a doctor but still stayed in touch with her old boyfriend. He doesn't believe it, and Michiko tells that she never lied to him. He runs towards her and without wanting to shove the dart into her, which enrages her. Michiko grabs the dart from his hand and prepares to shoot. Takashi pulls her, causing her to shoot the dart and strike the center, where the heart is, causing Takashi spit blood and fall. Michiko remembers all the times they spent together, even if Elle remember they were in the car and her husband tried to receive her ringing phone and then the car fell off the cliff. Decim cheers saying Michiko won, and Takashi inquires if he can do it again, but Michiko tells that it doesn't matter because they have already died. Decim tells it's true, people go to heaven and hell and Quindecim is where he settles that. Takashi asks Decim to help them since he is a god, but Decim replies that he is just a judge. Takashi tells Michiko that the child is not his and that she must accept it soon. Michiko remembers how she met Takashi, and then begins to walk away and laughs and tells that it is true and that she was really cheating on him. Takashi gets furious and runs towards her with darts. Decim stops him by making several wires that hold Takashi from doing anything and tells that the game is finished. Takashi faints on the wires while Michiko lies on the floor, with her hands over her face. Decim brings them each to an elevator, and the doors shut. The other episode starts showing a woman waking up on an altar of leaves. Nona appears telling good morning to her and inquires her name. The woman doesn't seem to know what to say, and Nona says it's okay because she doesn't have a name. They take the train to an elevator and Nona tells that they are moving to the 15th floor. Clavis greets them in the elevator and brings them on Decim's floor. When they reach there, Decim introduces himself to the woman, and she inquires what location that is. Nona tells that this is where the dead people arrive to be judged by the judges who is the bartender. Nona calls the woman on a location and tells that 2 people will arrive. The woman then inquires as to why she is there, and Nona tells that she is the assistant and the 2 get inside a room with several mannequins on the ceiling. And then a wall opens and they witness Michiko and Takashi looking frightened inside the room. She asks why are they showing this, and Nona tells it's to deceive them because they won't bet their lives if they knew they're already dead, and this will put them in an extreme situation where they will reveal the darkness in their hearts. And that's exactly where the judgment begins. It also tells that they receive the memories of all the people who arrives there, but they can't judge just using them as a basis, so that's why they do it. After the walls close in, they reach another location and witness them shooting darts. Nona tells that they had died in an accident on their honeymoon trip because Takashi thought Michiko was cheating on him. When Takashi strikes the dart at the target and causes Michiko fall to the ground with an ache in her stomach. Nona tells the memories are coming back and they're becoming unfocused. As soon as the game finishes, Nona tells that place is where it's decided that which soul will go into the void and which soul will be reincarnated, and that they are the judges who decide that. Michiko begins to distance herself and cry to herself, and the woman witnesses it. Michiko then bursts into laughs and tells that she loves someone else and betrayed him. The scene cuts as the elevators close in front of Decim. The 2 arrive at the place and Decim inquires the woman how it was. She tells that it was horrible and inquires where each one went. Nona tells that Takashi is reincarnated and Michiko went into the void, and the woman then tells that she wanted to ask Decim questions. She asks if Michiko was really cheating on Takashi, and Decim replied yes. Then the woman asks if it was just a one-night stand and that the child was Takashi's. Decim asks why when she herself accepted it wasn't. The woman then tells that Michiko was constantly bothered by Takashi's comments, and that she was dismal before, because Takashi tells that the child was not his. Decim inquires why she lied. The woman replies by saying that she used the lie to keep the blame off Takashi from thinking that he killed his own son, even though it made him hate her. Decim then understands that if Takashi hadn't misunderstood, they would both be still living happily. Decim inquires Nona if he had made a mistake. She grabs him away and gives Decim a short lecture. The 2 sit near the counter and take a drink. Before Nona leaves, the woman inquires what an assistant does, and Nona asks her to keep doing the same. In the elevator, Clavis inquires Nona how it went and she responds that it was normal. And Clavis tells it's rare to see Nona not looking down on them. Nona then thinks to herself that Takashi made more than just a misunderstanding, as he had a hard time trusting others, and he would never get happiness and because of his fault both their lives were finished. Nona then tells that the woman has a lot to learn. The scene cuts to Decim and the woman conversing, and Decim apologizes for the misunderstanding and tells it's a fault as a judge. The woman smiles and tells him to prepare her another drink, so Decim prepares her another drink. If you had come up to this bar with no memories and they told you to play some kind of game with someone else betting on your life, would you have dared to play? Comment down your answers, and please like, share and subscribe.